Chris here, and welcome to my channel. And as you can see by my setup, it's time to play Phase 10 Chooses My TBR. So I'm actually filming this a bit early as it's January 22nd, but I'm fairly confident I'm going to finish my TBR because two of the books I have left are on my Final Book Support Group TBR, and the other one I have started. So I thought I could film this and get it done a little bit early. That being said, I have a lot of things I have plans for in February. And whether I do multiple readathons is going to kind of depend on how this goes. So I will mention the readathons at the end of the video. I do have some other books that are on my TBR for various reasons, so let's run it through those really quick. For the Buzz Wordathon prompt, which is water-related words, I'm going to read Somewhere Beyond the Sea. This is the second book in the House in the Cerulean Sea series. I actually planned to reread the first one and then read this one. I have wanted to get to this one for quite a bit, but it just hasn't happened, and this gave me the perfect opportunity to stick it on my TBR. I believe it's also on one of my year-long challenges, so that would also be helpful to try to squeeze some of those books in, so I'm looking forward to getting through this one. For the Buzzword Cover Challenge, we need to read a book that features a skyline on the cover. And for this, I'm going to read Death on the Danube. As you can see, there's very obviously a skyline on this one. This is an ebook I own, so it will help me work towards my ebook goals, and I think it's a cozy mystery. I don't really remember much about the description at this point, but a lot of my ebooks tend to be cozy mysteries, so I'm going to guess that this one is as well, and hopefully it will be a quick, easy read, and I can actually check off an ebook this month. Then I have decided to take part in a read-along hosted by Leandra from Leandra the TBR Zero, and Margaret from The Word Nerd, and they will be doing a read-along of the Little Thieves series. So in February, we will be reading Little Thieves. I don't know much about this, but when I watched Leandra's video, she just made it sound so good and was so excited to check it out that I wanted to read it based on how excited she was. Also, she mentioned the words found family, and that is a buzzword for me. I love books with found family. So we're going to give this one a try and see what I think. And if I enjoy it, I can read book 2 in March and then book 3 in April, as that's how they're planning on doing this read-along. I will be continuing Becca's catch-up book club by reading Valor in February. I am very excited to get into this. I really enjoyed my reread of Malice. I think I enjoyed it more on reread than I did the first time, so very excited to continue on with the series and dive back in. Then I will be continuing my buddy read with Omi by reading Fire and Ice. This is the second book in the first arc of 6 in the Warrior series. We're doing a buddy read of the series, and if you would like to join us, there is a link to my Discord in the description below, and we have a channel set up for this particular series. I will also mention that there is one for the Mistborn read-along that we're doing, so if you'd like to join either, we'd love to have you. We gave ourselves January and February to read Mistborn, so you wouldn't be behind at all if you wanted to come join us. We're working our way through the Cosmere, and we are obviously starting with Mistborn. And we started Warriors in January, so you wouldn't be that far behind either if you would like to come join us reading that. So I will be reading Fire and Ice in February. And then the last book I need to mention is my queer book club pick, and you all voted for The Library of the Unwritten. So I will be reading this at some point on sprints in the month of February, so keep your eye on my Discord and my channel for those. And I am quite looking forward to seeing how this one ends up playing out. The information for all of those will be linked in the description below if you'd like to check any of those out. Now, on to my nonfiction pick for the month. And for this, I'm going to read Dreams from My Father by Barack Obama. This is a book I've had on my TBR since 2021. And I'm trying to finally work my way through some of the TBR vets I have on my TBR. And this is obviously one of them. I figured this was the perfect month to do so in, since it is Black History Month. And he definitely made quite a bit of history. I don't know exactly how this book is going to play out, but I'm very excited to check it out. And while I normally only have one nonfiction, I did want to mention that in regards to the fact that it is Black History Month, I have a giant stack of Who HQ books that all feature something to do with Black history. So very quickly, I have Who was Rosa Parks? Who was Harriet Tubman? What was the Underground Railroad? Who was Nelson Mandela? Who was Jackie Robinson? What was the Tulsa Race Massacre of 1921? What is the Civil Rights Movement? What was the Harlem Renaissance? And what was the March on Washington? So I'm going to see how many of these I can get to in the month of February. I thought it was, again, the perfect time to read them. And they'll be nice little easy reads that'll maybe break up some of the chunkier fantasy I'm going to have on my TBR. with all of that out of the way, I get to go and pick my TBR jar picks. This will never not scare me. I still love that it's pretty empty. There's still a lot of room in here, and I have definitely finished some series and caught up on them since 2025 started, so some of them are already obsolete. So let's pop this off and see what the TBR jar has in store for me this month. I feel like we go with red a lot, and I don't look. Oh, red, green, and this one. Green. And somehow I still lost a piece of paper. Okay, our first series is something I was not planning on reading right now, but I guess I am starting it. The Year-Round Christmas Mysteries. So this is one of my series to continue in 2025. And I had planned to read it later in the year because, you know, Christmas vibes, but I guess I'm starting it now. So I'll be doing a reread of Rest You Murdered Gentlemen. It's been a long time since I've read this one. Or at least it feels that way. I've read so many books in between then and a lot of cozy mysteries. So I plan to start the series over. So we will be putting the first book of this series on my TBR so that I can kick off my reread and dive back into it. My second series is the Cozy Witch Mystery Series. So this is a cozy mystery series I haven't necessarily loved, but it did win the poll pick for the hardboard in Seriesathon. So the third book in this series is called Needles and Knitters, and this follows Poppy, who I believe learns that she has magic in the first book, and in this one she's apparently going to be going to a local knitting group, and discovering she has 2 left thumbs and unable to use her magic in public, Poppy leaves early to peruse the stacks downstairs because they're meeting at the library. She ends up going back upstairs to the meeting room only to find a person has been stabbed with a knitting needle and her aunt is the prime suspect. So I'm going to assume she's going to be investigating to see who actually killed the victim and to clear her aunt's name. This hasn't been my favorite series, but I put it in the TBR jar, so I guess I'm going to continue it in February. This will catch me up, and I think after that I will make a decision on whether I want to keep it on my spreadsheet or whether I'm good just letting it go. Plus, like I said, I had to read it for the hardboard for Seriesathon anyways. And my third series I will be continuing. Interesting. The School for Good and Evil. This is another one I needed to continue for Seriesathon. So for this one, I'm on Quests for Glory. This is the 4th book in the series, and I believe they're headed back to school for the 4th year. Hopefully, the details come back to me because it has been a minute since I've read the series, but I don't want to reread it. So we're going to see how this goes. I have 3 more books in this series, so I'm hoping now that I've pulled it out of my TBR jar that will see me read them in the next couple of months and I can wrap the series up. So that would be the 3rd series to come out of my jar. So obviously 2 of these can go back in my bucket. The Year-Round Christmas Mysteries. There's like 7 or 8 of them and I'm only on book 1, so we will put that back in there. And I mentioned I have 2 more books in the School for Good and Evil, so I should put this one back in just in case, because it could be helpful if it comes out in the next couple of months. So they're both in there. I'm going to leave the Amity Allen series out because I have a decision to make on it, and we can put this up for another month, which means it's time to dive into this. Like I said, I am almost done with my TBR. I feel very confident that I'm going to finish it, so I will be taking a reward. I have my rewards here. We're just going to go with this top card, and I will be replacing the green 4. And we'll mix them up just a little bit. I have no idea what's on here, but I do know Stop TBR is now back in the deck, which is always nice, and I think I'm going to go with this one that's kind of hiding here. So there we go. I do have a ton of leftover rewards. I have remove 1 book from my TBR, void a wild, combine 2 prompts. I ended up finding the piece of paper, and no punishments next month. So I have all of these in my back pocket should I need them. So let's slide the 4 back in the deck here. And we will give this a quick shuffle so that I have at least a slight odd of pulling that 4. Especially considering the 3, assuming I actually manage to remember to finish my phase, does me no good. So, At least this way I would have a shot at pulling whatever the reward was for the 4. And we'll put these back here. And I can tell you right now that I would most likely use my Void of Wild because I would much rather have a chill month. And so if I get a wild, it is very possible I choose to void it. Just because I would much rather have a chill month, because January was a lot. Or at least it has been so far. So the prompt was mixed back in, even though I don't know what it was. And, well, I believe I've gotten everything out of the way, so we can dive in with draw number 1, which is a green 12. The prompt for green 12. Classic. So this was super easy. For classic, I'm going to read Little Men by Louisa May Alcott. This is a series I needed to continue for Readathon. So I'm absolutely going to be putting this on my TBR. I really enjoyed Little Women, and I hope to enjoy Little Men just as much. We will replace that with this and go to draw number 2, which is a green 11. Are we just going to go backwards on the greens? That could be interesting. The prompt for green 11 is Cozy Mystery. For this, I'm going to read Rest You Murdered Gentlemen because it came out of my series to continue jar, and it is a cozy mystery. And so I might as well utilize the fact that the universe put a cozy mystery on my TBR to use it for phase 10. We will replace that with this and go to draw number 3, which is a yellow 2. The streak of green is broken. The prompt for yellow 2 is 5 or more words in the title. For this, I'm going to read The Library of the Unwritten because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like I said earlier, this is my queer book club pick, so I will obviously be getting to this anyways in the month of February. So anywhere I can double up is definitely a good goal for me. We'll replace that with this and go to draw number 4. Ooh, easy 6. Let's just stick you over there before I forget, because I did last month. What are we feeling? Yellow 1, blue 5, or blue 9? Let's stick with yellow. We'll go with the yellow 1. The prompt for yellow 1. This is a prompt from Vanessa, and it says, roll a die. The number has to be the number the book ends in. So, I have my die here. Let's see. I got a 3. So, my page number needs to end in 3. So, book ending in a 3. This took me a ridiculously long amount of time because, well, 3 seems to be the hardest number for me to find a book whose page count ends in 3. But I'm going with Iron Flame. I was hoping to read this in February, but I didn't necessarily want it on my Phase 10 TBR. However, it was the first book I managed to find that ended in 3 after looking through at least a couple dozen, because it ends on page 623. So thank you, Vanessa, for creating this prompt for me and making it so that I will be continuing on with the series and reading Iron Flame in February. We'll replace that with this and go to draw number 4. No, 5. Draw number 5. And it's red 10. Red 10. The prompt for red 10 is read along or readathon. Well, why not? Let's just continue to make this TBR large and go with Little Thieves. I am obviously doing this as part of the read along hosted by Leandra and Margaret, so might as well stick it on my Phase 10 TBR and make it a little bit chunkier. My other big option would be Valor, so I think that might have been the better choice. Let's replace that with this and go to draw number 6, which is a blue 1. Watch this be one word title and me have to read Valor. The prompt for blue 1 is book with a number in the title. So surprisingly, I had a lot of options for this, like more than I thought I was going to have. And I decided to go with 2 roads, as I believe this is on my 25 and 25 TBR. It's 1932 and 12-year-old Cal Black and his pop have been riding the rails for a year after losing their farm in the Great Depression. Cal likes being a knight of the road with Pop, even if they're broke. But then Pop has to go to Washington, D.C., and Cal can't go with him. So Pop tells Cal something he never knew before. He's a Creek Indian, which means Cal is too, and Pop has decided to send Cal to the Chalagi Indian School, a government boarding school for Native Americans in Oklahoma. At Chalagi, the other Creek boys quickly take Cal under their wing. Even in the harsh, miserable conditions of the school, Cal begins to learn his people's history and heritage, language, and customs. And most of all, he learns how to find strength in a group of friends who only have one another. So this sounds extremely interesting, and I think it is my best bet based on the options I have for number in the title. We'll replace that with this and go for draw number 7, which is a skip, which means I don't have to do anything for this prompt. No book, no prompts, no nothing. Draw number 8 is a red 5. The prompt for red 5. Under 500 ratings. So for under 500 ratings, I'm going to go with Needles and Knitters. According to Goodreads, this has 44 ratings. And so I think this is perfect. It'll force me to get to it. We can make a decision about this series officially in February, and we'll see how this one goes. We'll replace that with this and go to draw number 9. A wild. We'll make a decision about the wild after we finish our regular draws, because I do have avoid a wild prompt. We'll see where we're at. Draw number 9, part 2. Ooh. Ooh. We're just going to stick that down here. I'm going to get rid of the blue 5. So the prompt for blue 5. Set in another world. So for this, I'm going to read Carving Shadows into Gold. This is the second book in the Forging Silvers into Stars series. And this is a spin-off series of the Curse Breaker series. And in that series, our main character does start in Washington, D.C., but gets whisked off to a magical world. And as far as I can remember, there was nothing in Forging Silver into Stars that took place in our world. And from the description of Carving Shadows into Gold, there does not seem to be anything that indicates that any of it will be set in our world. So this is definitely set in a different world. I can't really say much about this because, again, spin-off from the Cursebreaker series, but it is one I wanted to get back to. This book comes out relatively soon, and I do plan on getting it. So I will be reading this in February, and we will see how this one goes. We'll replace that with this and go for our final draw. Draw number 10, which is a yellow 12. The prompt for yellow 12 is YA. So I am well aware that I could use my combined 2 prompts here to use Carving Shadows into Gold for YA as well. But I'm going to save that just in case, because I need to reread Forging Silver into Stars. And this would also be YA. So since I'm already planning on reading this, and it doesn't really add to the insane TBR I have for February, I thought I might as well hang on to the combining 2 prompts in case I need it. So we're going to go with Forging Silver into Stars for YA. I think I feel good enough that I'm not going to use my Void a Wild reward. We'll replace that with this, and we're going to roll for this wild. If another wild comes up, I will absolutely be using it, but we're going to see what it gives us. And I got a 1. So yes, I think I made the right decision there. The one and only wild draw is a blue 7. Okay, I think I definitely made the correct choice on that one. The prompt for blue 7 is Book of the Month. So for Book of the Month, I'm going to read The 3 Lives of Kate K. This was almost the book I chose for number in the title. So it looks like the universe was saying, Chris, you should really read this book in the month of February. This one sounded interesting. Kate K knows how to craft a story. As the writer of a best-selling book trilogy whose adaptation struck box office gold, she's one of the most successful authors of her generation. The thing is, Kate K doesn't exist. Her real identity has been a closely guarded secret, with only one other woman knowing the truth. That all changes when the actress from Kate Kay's movie adaptations, Rye Channing, asks to meet the writer behind the pen name. Kate feels an immediate connection with Rye, but is hesitant to reveal her true self. What follows leads Kate down a rabbit hole of her former life, still wondering all these years later if she made the right choice by running. So this sounded really, really interesting, and I really do think the universe was saying, Chris, you need to read this in February. It also helps with one of my goals of reading all of the books I purchased in 2025 in the year 2025, since I got this in January, so we'll see how this goes. We will replace that with this. And there you have it. I'm done for the month of February. I think this is a really doable TBR, even though I've got some very, very chunky books on there, given that I have 2 Bridget Kemmerer books, Iron Flame, and Little Thieves. But I'm feeling really confident about this because a lot of them I was already planning on getting to anyways. So I think this is a good, solid TBR. Which brings me to the readathon portion. I did say that if this didn't go super crazy, I would probably partake in some readathons, and I'm looking at doing 2. The first is Polarathon. This is hosted by Jade from JD Ray Reads, and this year it's an entire month-long round, and I'm quite excited to check it out. We're going to see how I can do. I'm not going to overwhelm myself, but I have participated in every other Polarathon, so I would really like to participate in this one. And then the other one is the Get a Clue readathon hosted by Rainy Day Reads. I did this last year and I had fun with it. There are 2 ways you can do it this year, which is like an easy mode and a hard mode. So I don't know how I'm going to participate, but I think I will give it a shot and check it out this year. It'll depend on what my page total looks like by the end of the month, whether I do hard mode or easy mode, but I do think I will partake. Just like with everything I mentioned earlier in the videos, the details for those will also be linked in my description. So I believe that's everything. It's not a bad month. I'm pretty happy with what I got, and we will see how February treats me. What is a book that you're super excited to get to in February? Let me know in the comment section below. All of my social media is linked in the description below if you'd like to come chat with me. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me wolf emojis, like this video, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!